Alright, welcome back. I have a little showdown action for you today with the KV4 versus the KV5. They're going to go head to head, going to go back and forth. Last battle, it's just the subscribers kind of going head to head. So in this first one, being the KV5, next one, KV4, and then just the subscribers. So both tanks, they do have their differences between them, and just because maybe a newer player coming into the game might see KV4 and then they see a KV5, they may assume, oh, the KV5 is better because it's a higher number. Because as you look at it, it's like, oh, tier 6 is KV2, tier 5 KV1, and then, so forth, KV3 at tier 7. But that is not the case. When looking at both the KV4, KV5, they do have their slight differences, but they are balanced, in my opinion. Especially when competing against each other, they do have their own strengths and weaknesses. So when you're looking at the KV5, it has a little less DPM. It also has a little less penetration. However, there are, different cannons that do change that a little bit. But overall, it doesn't have as good of penetration as the KV4's better cannon, which is the really long one, not the 122 millimeter. And so it doesn't have as good of DPM or penetration. It is a little bit more accurate, which is helpful, and it is a little bit more maneuverable, which is also quite helpful, but it doesn't have as much armor in its turret or hull. And the KV4, when looking at it, it has a little bit higher DPM, it does have better penetration. That's when using the tier 9 cannon, but it's a little more inaccurate, and it's a little slower, but it has more armor. So you can kind of see the trade-offs between these two tanks. So great battle here. The KV5s took the first one. Now I'm going to go over to the KV4 side. Honestly, way fun. If you guys want to join any of my videos, join my Discord. Make sure to get the movie crew role. All are welcome, and more the merrier. So going here into this second one, so it's now a 3v3. Just had a couple players either had, swap out, or just had to leave and just had to make things a little even here. So we're gonna go ahead and watch and just see how this plays out. I know how it goes, being this is a replay. It was a slower tank. I like cutting through the middle just to really get into the action faster. So depending on where they are, so have spotted them, they also know where I am too. KV4 doesn't have great gun depression, so great shot there, knocked out the turret. Got to go ahead and close in, most likely staying together. But yeah, KV4 doesn't have a lot of gun depression, and so I count these tanks as more as flat ground tanks. Not wanting to so much put them in a position to crest or use a lot of hills that require gun depression, as you can put yourself in a not a good position. So I want to be a little careful here, because these KV5s, they do have protection. I am alone here. Do choke on the shot. It does get a round in me. And this is where you can just see that KV4, just the standard. I'm not even using APCR, and he's cutting through me. But you can just see with that KV4 shell, that standard AP round using this tier 9 cannon, and you do get some bounces. KV4, KV5 are quite bouncy. But you can see for the most part, it's not very difficult to cut through that armor with this cannon. And as the KV4, there are players that I do see deciding between the 122 millimeter or the Tier 9 cannon. I'll be honest with you, I personally like the Tier 9 cannon because the thing about the 122 millimeter on the KV4 is your penetration is a lot worse, and when you're a heavy tank, you're facing other heavy tanks, especially Tier 9, and you need that penetration. This was just funny because the subscriber, both kind of going at it, no, and you know, just have to do what we've got to do. Got to be careful of those weak spots. So great job by him. But this is to the end. Could not make any. Couldn't shake hands. No friendship. High fives or anything there at the end. So anyway, like I was saying about the cannon, I personally, when using the KV4, recommend a Tier 9 cannon. As I was saying, the 122 millimeter doesn't have as good of penetration, and to make up for that, using that cannon, especially when you're facing other heavies most of the time because you're slower and whatnot, you've got to use gold rounds, which decreases your average damage per shot, whereas the KV4 already has better penetration. And I don't necessarily need to use APCR. I mean, if I'm facing Tier 9, that may be maybe a little different. So going into the last round here, this is from the point of view from my awesome member. If you would like to become a member as well, it's in my channel under memberships. Become a member. Every little bit helps and counts. So again, absolutely awesome. Really aggressive, pushing up here. Fairly good move. However, this KV5 over to the left really puts him in a pinch. Getting some decent bounces here, but really puts him in a bad position. And there is a little bit of that Russian accuracy, unfortunately. Getting hit kind of from both sides here. Great hit into that KV5. Good move to have tried to get out of there, but now the other KV5s are pouring in. I think that other KV4 kind of nosedived right off the side. KV4 is down 1. But honestly, if I had to choose one over the other, it's hard to say because I'm the type of player that does prefer more maneuverability. And it also has more accuracy, that KV5. But the KV4, I feel like for the role it plays, the cannon it has, I feel like is a little bit more of a capable tank. If I was going to do a tournament or whatever, and I had to choose one or the other, I would probably choose the KV4. It has a slightly better armor profile, and you can see this KV4 with the 122mm not having a shot, having to use that HE round. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the vid. This is the Muffin here. You guys stay cool and keep tanking.